Hello and welcome back to Speak Up Sis Talk Show, Conversations that Connect. I'm your host, Angel Charmaine, and this is the place where we invite self published independent authors into the Speak Up Sis space so that you can meet them, hear their stories, fall in love with them, and then go purchase their books so that you can fall in love with their work as well. And today I've got another amazing author here with me. You all are going to absolutely love her. I've had opportunities to just chop it up with her and to chat. And we have had some long conversations. And you all already know that when I have long conversations with people, they are so worth knowing. So I'm going to go ahead and invite Miss Colette Harrell into the Speak Up Sis talk show space. So y'all make sure you give her a great big hello, how you doing? A good Speak Up Sis welcome. How you doing, Colette?
Hi, Angel. Thank you for having me. Hello to all of your followers and all of the people who participate on this platform, Speak Up Sis. I am excited to be here. And when you talk about having wonderful conversations, they already know you're the best person. If anybody's coming on here for the first time because they know me, I want you to meet Angel because I promise you, she is so open. She is so accommodating. She is so helpful. There were things that I was doing wrong. Yeah, I was doing some stuff wrong. And she came along and assisted me beyond the introduction that we first had with each other. So I'm pleased to be here. I found a new friend in Angel. So guys, you already have the treasure. Thank you for sharing her with me.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really do. So let's go ahead and jump right into what we're here for because I don't like a lot of jaw jacking and lip wrestling. So I just like to get into the meat of what we're talking about. So before we start talking about your journey as an author, and we are going to talk about your book later, not later, but later. Before we do that, if you will, please introduce yourself and let people know who you are and what it is that you do.
Okay, well, I'm Colette R. Harrell. I'm an author. I am in my second career. You know how you do what's expected of you all your life, and then when you finally get to the point where you're brave enough to step out on that limb and do you, I wanted to be an author. I always told stories, and I always felt like I could put my stories to paper and that they would sell. I also love to read. And because I'm the biggest fan of authors, I thought it was a place that I wanted to be. So I started my journey in 2014 when my first book came out, but I've been dibbing and dabbing and writing short stories and making up stories for my children when they were young and just loving the idea of sharing big stories, just sharing big ideas and just letting them evolve into something that made people like scoot to the edge of your seat because that's what their stories did for me. And I wanted to share the love. So that's how I got started. This is a second career, and I'm really, really happy to be here. So that's how it all got started.
That's what's up. I'm always excited to talk to people, and I'm always interested, rather, is a better word, to talk to people who um, do other things other than write. A lot of times we have authors on, and that's all they do, which is a wonderful thing to do that. But I think it adds to me another dimension, other levels to your writing when you're also in other spaces. I think I know for me when it comes to characters and including dialogue and things like that, it helps to actually be living, if you
Yeah,
will,
yeah,
other spaces. Because just think when it's just you, it's just your writing, you're not doing anything else. Yes, I'm sure we get good writing from that as well, but I just believe it adds something a little extra oomph and allows it to be more relevant and current when
Mm-hmm.
you're engaging with people in your everyday life and some other type of work or thing, and you can sort of bring that into your writing. Do you
Yeah,
feel that?
I was director of social services at a nonprofit agency.
Mm-hmm.
So being in social work, you encounter every economic level, you encountered every diverse ethnicity, you encounter people with all types of issues and problems. And it allowed me to have platforms when I write that I can write authenticity into what I'm doing because I've worked with people in these situations, and sometimes I've been in these situations. And so being able to be transparent in my feelings and being able to be transparent in what I went through with other people when they were going through their feelings, I think allowed me to tell a story that was more relatable to people because they've actually lived it or knew someone who lived it. Yeah.
Right. I totally get it. And in reading your books, you can see that you've got a really good grasp of people and understanding people and observing, uh, the nuances, that different people in different situations have. There's a topic that I really want you to expound on during this conversation that
Mhm.
many of the authors that come into this space and many of the people who watch Speak Up Sis Talk Show who want to be authors don't ever have an opportunity to do. And you did with um, your debut book entitled "The Devil Made Me Do It."
Mhm.
You actually started with traditional publishing.
I did. I
And
did.
do you mind sharing a little, because here again, Speak Up Sis Bookshelf is your source for independent, self-published author,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
you are, and we'll
Yeah.
talk about that. But that's not how you started. So, do you mind sharing
Mhm.
that journey, maybe some tips, if you will, for people who are considering going that route, and then we'll talk a little bit about if there's a route that you prefer, or maybe some pros and cons of both. Maybe. What do you
Okay.
think about that? That's
I,
good.
I think it's good. If I can share, if I can help, I am all over it. Being traditional, um, I didn't want to do indie initially. I didn't feel like I knew enough to do indie. I
Hmm.
felt like I knew how to tell a story. I knew what I love to read. And so on The Devil Made Me Do It, it was all about spiritual warfare. And it was all about how a young girl finds herself and finds out who she is on the road to not just romance, but on the road to discovering her own identity. And in the process, there was a spiritual warfare going on because sometimes we can't find out who we are because of some of the things that have happened to us in our childhood, and they block us becoming fully who we were meant to be. And so, in telling that story, in the first, and it's amazing actually because I love to read. I said that before. So, if I can step back a little bit, I was a fan of Victoria Christopher Murray, who is now a best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author.
Too. I love her.
Oh yes, and I follow her to the point where I was a prayer warrior on her behalf. I prayed for her every time she went somewhere. I just was a great fan. Finally, I let her know that I also love to write. There was something that I had never shared. And so I sent her my manuscript and she agreed to edit it. And in editing it and in providing the edits for it, she literally kind of coached me on how to write a book. And so I was able to complete the book. And she said, let me send this out. I think it's so good. It's so well written. Let me send it out to someone. Let me connect you with someone. And so she connected me with the person. They as an agent, they asked me to send my first 5 chapters. I did. She contacted me within a month and said, "Hey, I want to give you a contract." And she said, "Now listen, it'll take about 2 years, up to 2 years, for me to be able to sell this to a publishing house." Well, long story comes short, within a month of her sending it out, I got a 2-book deal based on The Devil Made Me Do It. Now,
Whoa, did you say 1 month?
within a month of her sending it out, they read The Devil Made Me Do It, and then they offered me a two book contract. So that's how I went traditional, and I went traditional with Urban Books. Now, this is what I would like to say to people. Everybody's road is different. I prayed a lot. I fasted and prayed about it. And so, do I feel like some doors were open spiritually? I feel like some doors aligned and open spiritually, because I happened to be where I needed to be and had what I needed to give at that time. And The Devil Made Me Do It, and the follow-up book to that, Tell the Truth the Devil Won't, are both Christian fiction. When it went out, I was actually very, very blessed to be able to meet some fantastic other authors who gave me tips and who put me on to what conferences I should go to, what marketing platforms I should utilize, some of the places I could go to meet readers. And then I had some very, very good friends that really helped me. I called them my dream runners, because let's say this to everybody out there. Let me say this. Use your support team and let them know what you need. And the way you're able to utilize your support team is if you're also a support to other people when they need to have their dreams pushed out there. And so I worked with some people, and I call them my dream runners. And there were 12, just like the disciples. And so we ended up having marketing plans, and we did a huge book selling at my book signing, over 200 people, a huge party, and everyone really, really worked hard to put The Devil Made Me Do out there.
So
So
I'm going to interject for just a moment. And
absolutely.
I do that quite a bit.
No problem. My problem was going on too long.
No, because when I hear you speak, I like to ask the questions that I think people watching us would ask.
Mhm.
And when you say support, that word support is huge. And entrepreneurship, all of that. And you're like, I'm sitting here in awe that you had 12, because that's a significant amount of people to be a support team. For those authors who are watching who can't seem to get one or two supporters, let alone an entire team. Um, how did you? And I know I did hear you say you need to be a supporter, right? And yet I see people every day who support other people, they purchase, they share, they do all the things, and yet they still find it difficult to rally a team for themselves. Is there something specific you did, or were you, like you said, were you just blessed to have people who just wanted to support you? But for the person who doesn't have a ready-made team, is there something maybe they can think about doing, trying? Is it something they're missing?
Well, I didn't have a ready-made team. I had to create a team, excuse me, and I had to be strategic in developing the team. And some of the people that I thought I was close to weren't on the team. So sometimes you'd be surprised who's in your circle. And sometimes they're not in your inner circle. Sometimes they're even in your larger circle that will step up. And you didn't even know that they would be that important in the scheme of things. And that happened to me. And I started off simply with inviting everyone to my house, serving dinner, having a conversation about my heart's desire, talking to them about their heart's desires, and just asking them whether or not they would make this commitment to go down this road with me. And I was just amazed that every single person that showed allowed me to add them to my inner circle. And they each brought gifts that I didn't have, the gift of administration, where they came up with ideas that I would have never come up with on my own. So having all of those people, having all of those ideas in the room, having all of that brain power in the room, they did what I couldn't do. And then they actually, and I just want to thank all my dream runners. You know, when you see this, you've been so important in the scheme of things and you know who you are. I can't even imagine that day when we all sat around and I talked about my desires, that several of them pulled their checkbooks out and wrote me checks and said, here, go get this, go get that. Yes, it was an amazing thing. I can only tell you, for those of us who trust and believe, that God really did do it, because I really prayed about it. Certain people got dropped in my spirit and I reached out to them, people that I didn't even think would be in the room. I also want to say, when I talked about being a support, I've mentored people outside in the social work world and the social uh, services world. I've mentored young professionals. And then in my church, I had younger sisters that and brothers that I mentored. On my job, I had young people that I mentored. And so I think for every seed that you sow, it's promised that it will harvest. It's promised that you will reap it. It's promised. It says seed, time, and harvest. So it is promised that what you put into the earth realm will come back to you. So for all of you out there who sometimes you believe that what you've done hasn't come back to you, sometimes it doesn't come back from the people that you gave to. But there will be rams in the bush. You will be sent people who will do for you what you've done for others. So hang in there, trust and believe. Don't give up. Keep going. People like Angel will come out of nowhere who will assist you simply because they have hearts of gold. So I can only tell you that my experience was amazing. And I believe that you'll have amazing experience too. I don't think I'm special in that way. I think that it's just I wanted to help, and then I found people who wanted to help me.
Gotcha. That's what's up. And I totally agree with you. Sometimes when I'm mentoring women and just having conversations, I try and remind them that, sometimes we get frustrated because we want certain people to support us.
That's right.
It's not that, oh, people won't support me. No, it's the people you want, yet that you personally want to support you, and maybe they're not doing what you want them to do. However, there are sundry people
Mm-hmm.
divinely strategically placed in your life to support the vision that God has given you. And if that vision is to be an author and to write books that will impact people's lives, whether it's, to educate them, to entertain them, whatever that purpose is, there are people in your life that if you will stop focusing on the people you think are going to do it
That's right.
and allow the people who have a heart's desire to
Yes.
do it, then you'll see that circle just sort of open up for you.
I think that's so true. And I think that I've had the experience and I can share that please understand I got no's. Please understand some people told me they didn't have the time or the capacity or the want to help me. And some of those people were people that I was biologically connected to. And I was like, oh, and because for some reason, some people hear about your dream for years. And then when it finally gets feed and it's manifested, they're like, oh, she's finally done it, or oh, he's finally done it. And so then you're waiting everybody to jump on the bandwagon and say, I want to help you. And it doesn't necessarily happen. But I promise you, if you don't give up, I promise you, if you look beyond their shoulders, there's somebody standing behind them that is going to help you. I need you to hear that so well, because so many times we give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. If you want to be an author, if you want to write, write your heart's desire and don't give up. As an indie author now, I started traditionally. Now I'm doing indie, and I love doing indie. I love doing indie because now I'm the captain of my own ship. I love doing indie because now no one can tell me what I can or can't say. So just trust and believe yourself. Don't always think because you go traditional. I went traditional, and they get all the money and you get a little money. They get all the credit and you get a little credit. And so if you really want to have this as a business, because being an author, part of it is it's a business, then when you're an indie, you're what she's saying, you're an entrepreneur. You're that person. It's your business. It's your LLC. And so, and you're not just making money for a company, but you're finally making money for yourself. So I encourage you. Again, I said this is my second career. I was director of social services, doing really well. I retired, and now I'm an author. And everything I did for my customers and my clients, everything I did for my staff, I'm now putting all that energy into doing something for me and for those around me who have dreams, because I'm still trying to help others fulfill their dreams as a story editor. So when people say, hey, I want to write, but I don't quite know how to write, I have an idea, but I don't know quite how to get it on that paper, I'm that person that's assisting them in getting that on that paper and making it flow and putting it out there. Because I don't just want my work to be out there and shining. I want everyone's work to be out there and shining.
Oh, I love it. And you added that editorial component in there. Like that's something that I didn't know. And so I'm going to be talking to you on the sidelines. There's
Yeah.
so much work to be done in
Mm-hmm.
the Speak Up Sis community. We've got quite a bit of authors as well as um, authors in the making, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
within the community. So yeah, definitely going to tap into that. I'm putting a mental pen in that because yeah, we're gonna get you some work and get you to work. And so I like that you brought in the self-published component. I am also a self-published author, and what there are two books and a Bible study. And you're right. What I tell people all the time is that money is mine. And I think something a lot of people don't really think about, and granted, I've never been traditionally published, so I'm not an expert in this space. However, just listening to other people, I listen to other people's stories and I read about people's journeys. And a lot of folks think, I'll become a traditionally published author. I'm going to get this great big advance and yada yada yada. And the truth is marketing and promoting has to happen on both sides.
That's right.
Depending on how large the publishing house is, depending on how invested they are in your project, because your project isn't the only project they have, right?
You
So
are speaking the truth.
depending on how far low you are on their totem pole, how much money they're willing to invest in you. Some people are getting $250,000 advancements. You may get a $10,000 advancement. Depending, there are lots of things in play. And I'm sure the lower you are on the totem pole, the less marketing and promoting you're going to get, which means you still have to do what I think is one of the hardest parts of being an author, and that is letting people know that you have a book and getting them into a place where they will spend their money on your book. And that doesn't necessarily happen at the level and at the capacity that I think people assume because you are traditionally published. Am
I
I
think we
somewhere in
do.
the ballpark?
I was going to say, you don't need me anymore. We can just go on right now because you just gave it all in a nutshell. But you're definitely telling the truth. I mean, you really have these pie in the sky ideas that you're going to make all this money. And the truth of the matter is, whatever they advance to you, you don't make any more money until you give that advance back to the publishing company. So you won't get a royalty check until after that complete advance they gave you is paid off. And usually, when you get the advance, most of us take that advance money and spend it on marketing, because she's right again. Most of the marketing money that's coming out is coming out of your pocket, unless you're a name brand author, unless you're high up on the totem pole, unless you have a proven track record. I came and I did The Devil Made Me Do It, and nobody knew me except those in my little community. So I literally spent quite a bit of my own money marketing. And so then I also used money that they gave me for my advance. So at the bottom line, when you start waiting on that money to roll in, it's not what you think. That's pretty much a fairy tale. For some authors, that may be real, that may be what they have going on, but very few of us are in that level. Very few of us reach that level. And so doing indie, you have a lot of authors that are doing indie, that are making a living, that are self-publishing, that are making a living. And so I knew enough to blow myself to kingdom come if I tried to do it at the very beginning. So I did traditional, trying to learn as much as I could about the skill and craft of writing. And then after I learned that part, I said, okay, now I've got to learn the business part of having a self-published position, or having a self-published company. And so now that I'm doing that, I have a book coming out next month. I have a book coming out the month after that. So I'm now starting to steamroll. It takes a minute. There's a learning curve. And that's why I'm telling everybody, don't give up. And then life happens, life happens for all of us. And so sometimes there's delays, but not denial. So just hang in there. I promise it's coming.
Great advice. I'm gonna tell you all, I'm gonna put it up on the screen one more time because it's a good book. The Devil Made Me Do It. It's not the book that's on the bookshelf, but you can find
Right.
it on Amazon and I'm sure some other places. But her debut novels, The Devil Made Me Do It, it's a fabulous piece of work.
Mhm.
She's gotten a lot of eyes on it, a lot of notoriety from people who are solid in the industry. So check it out if you all want to you know, how that works and what it looks like and all that good stuff. By all means, go check it out. So I want to make sure that you all see it. The Devil Made Me Do It is the debut, and there's a second one after that. So listen, she's got books. You can go check them out. But what I want us to get to right now is the book that is listed on Speak Up Sis bookshelf. And first, I just want to say thank you for choosing Speak Up Sis bookshelf as one of the places where people can grab your book. You're a fabulous writer. The concept of this book is amazing.
Thank
And
you.
yes, and so
Oh,
and I love that it's although Speak Up Sis bookshelf is it is your source for Christian self-published and indie books. I like the fact that it's not a traditional, if you will, Christian. It's not Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Although we love
no,
the
I
Lord,
don't do
we love the Lord, y'all. If you've been watching me long enough, you know I love the Lord. Okay. Uh,
well.
However, we like to read books from various genres, and Speak Up Sis Bookshelf does host and list books like from different types of genres, many
Mhm,
different. And this is
mhm.
the first sci-fi romance, if you will. Yeah, so we didn't listen, y'all. When I was listing, I was like, okay, we don't even have a category for this. We're gonna put it somewhere in here so it can be found. So I want you to talk to us about Later. Later is the name of the book that you all can find by Colette R. Harrell. It is her masterpiece as an independent self-published author. The concept is it's out there, but it's awesome. So if you will please share with everybody a bit about later and how you came up with this idea of some enslaved people who go back to the future. And yeah, it's dope, y'all. So share with
Oh
us
my God.
how
I
you
love it.
came up with this concept and what people can expect from later.
It's absolutely a roller coaster ride. It's funny. It has some social justice themes in it. It is interracial, as an interracial romance in it. And it's about three enslaved family members. And the 12-year-old brother, the youngest brother, is 12, and he's a genius. And he hears from God. He hears audibly from God. And he's advised that he can escape, that it's time to escape. And God gives him the plan to escape. And so this book is about the journey that they take while escaping. In the meantime, there's an ex Special Forces lieutenant in 2023 that is unhappy, and he is wondering why his life is the way it is and what his true purpose is since he's no longer in the military. And lo and behold, that the escaped slaves from 1859 end up in 2023. And the adventure that everybody goes on with this family showing up in this day and time, and the villains that are after them are extremely evil, which I love to write those who are evil, because I love for you to actually see good overtaking evil. So
I love
it's
that.
a great story. It has a lot of moral fiber to it. It's very, very um, inspirational in terms of who we are, and it goes back to that theme of your identity. Because can you imagine trying to know who you are in 1859 during slavery, and then to come to 2023? Is it all that you thought it would be? There's some questions that come up in the book that make you wonder and make you think. And so, and then there's a forbidden romance that was in 1859, and now she's in 2023. And what does that look like? And so it is a story of hope. It's a story of faith, and it's a story of trusting God. And that is where my title came from, because some things come later.
Whew, some things come later. But we don't want to wait on the later half the time. We don't. And
We
think about
don't. We don't.
1923, that's a whole lot of later.
164 years later, can you imagine? But the promises he gave them in 1859 came forth in 2023.
Yes.
And so I love the book because I think that it speaks to so many different parts of how we live our lives,
Mhm.
and even the social justice part of it, of them coming to this day and time and reaping what they have sowed back in 1859.
Right.
That that scripture, your latter shall be greater, comes forth for them.
Mhm.
So that's where I got the name from, because I think that they reaped physically, mentally, socially, emotionally, and economically later in this book, but they did reap. I believe in happily ever afters, guys. So if you're reading anything I wrote, it's going to end in happily ever after. Then good's going to triumph over evil, because that's my, when they say that's my jam, Mr. Kids, that's my jam.
Victory is mine. Victory is mine. Victory
That's
today
right.
is mine.
Come
Listen,
on, what you tell them?
I love it. And I love the fact that you write happily ever afters.
Yeah.
It it gives people hope. I know there are some folks who are realists, if you will. That's what you want to call them. And they're like, it can't always be happy, or they're actually looking for books that don't. There, do you know there are people who look for books that don't have happily ever afters? And,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
I'm just like, why?
I just can't.
Like, I don't. Why don't you want it to? I like when there are twists and turns, and I don't know how the happily ever after is going to happen, but I definitely crave a happily ever after, right?
And that's to me, if I'm going to take a journey, I want a happy ending. I
Yeah,
don't want to I don't want to take a journey and I get to the end of it and it falls flat for me, or I'm sobbing, or I'm crying, or I can't believe it, because I'm going to close the book, or I'm going to shut off the Kindle, or I'm going to cut off the TV, and real life is waiting. And when I read, I want it to be a Calgon moment. I want it to take me away.
I love that. I know that's right, and I think those of us who truly love reading, whether you're reading something informational and
Mhm,
academic and you're learning something, you want to close the book or the resource and be better afterwards,
mhm,
have more knowledge, understand something at a higher or greater level. It's like, yeah, this was worth my reading, right? Great. Even if it's entertaining, you want to finish it and just laugh or feel good. But to read anything and be less than when you started or the same,
mhm.
what's the purpose,
Right,
right? To
right.
be further depressed or, have less hope than before. So I applaud you
Thank you.
for making sure we get a happy ending, but allowing it to be realistic and knowing that your happy endings don't they may not come tomorrow, they may come later, but
Mhm.
they're coming.
But they're coming.
I absolutely love it. So listen, believe it or not, we are past 30 minutes. I always tell people it goes so quickly, especially when we're getting really, really good stuff. So I want to say really quickly, those of you who are watching, y'all know how I do. Go get the book. This entire conversation is all about getting you all to a place where you will trust this author's voice enough to trust that her work is good. And you all know I don't put my John Hancock on everything. And I'm telling you, you're going to enjoy later. So don't wait till later to go purchase this. So we want you to go purchase it now. And you can purchase at speakupsis.com/bookshelf. Later is one of our featured books. So make sure you look at the must read section directly on the homepage. You'll see it. It's the first book you're going to see under the must read featured section. If you click on that book, it will take you to where the book is on the bookshelf. If you click on the book when you see it there, it'll take you to the link where Colette wants you to purchase the book and then buy the book. If this is your first time watching Speak Up Sis Talk Show, Conversations That Connect, hey, and thank you for sticking it out with us. But I want you to know
Yeah.
that I do not get any of her coins. I like to say that, Colette, because some folks be like, tell me where to get it, where she could get all the money, because we don't want you to have none.
Right.
And listen, I'm an author as well. I totally understand it. So I'd like for you all to know, if you're new to the space, I do not get any royalties or anything like that from you going to Speak Up Sis Bookshelf to purchase the book. It actually helps the platform for you all to go to speakupsis.com/bookshelf and purchase the book through the bookshelf. What it does is it allows there to be more visibility on the bookshelf so that those books that are in obscurity on Amazon, we bring them into a smaller niche place so that they're easily accessible. More people can see them readily, and you can go ahead and grab them, and the author gets all of the profit. Speak Up Sis Bookshelf, nor Angel Charmaine gets any, just in case you're new to this. So it's totally safe and okay, better than okay, for you to go right now and purchase later at speakupsis.com/bookshelf. All right. So go get the book. Go get the book. Go get the
I
book,
love it.
or you leave a review. Come back, let me know what you think,
You.
and we can chop it up. All right. So before you leave, I always give my guests an opportunity to leave some words of encouragement or inspiration. Is there something that sort of that you kind of feeling in your sanctified soul right now that you would just like to share with those who may be watching us?
I will share this. God told me a long time ago that our dreams have no expiration date. So even if He gave it to you 20 years ago, go after it. Trust and believe what's been placed in your spirit will come to fruition. And it's been such a pleasure to be on this platform with you. It's been such a pleasure to be with Angel. And Speak Up Sis is a platform that I will be following from now on because it's so worthy. So just thank you for tuning in. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you so much. This has been so wonderful. I try my best to stick to 30 minutes, but it never works. Just because I don't care. I love learning. I love hearing other people's stories. We overcome by the word, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our
Of our
testimony.
testimonies.
And for those of you who choose to come into this space and to help the rest of us heal and grow and learn and be inspired, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. And with that, everyone, I would like to say thank you all for joining us for another segment of Speak Up Sis Talk Show, Conversations That Connect. My name is Angel Charmaine. I'm your host, and my guest has been Colette R. Harrell, and her self published work entitled Later is on Speak Up Sis Bookshelf. Please make sure you go by and grab a copy and then come back and let us know what you think. You all take care. And remember, until next time, open up your mouth and speak up. Bye bye.
Bye.